Back in chapter 2, we learned how to find the equation of a line that goes through two given points. So I would give you two ordered pairs, maybe like these two right here, and I'd say find their equation. And you guys would do that usually using point slope form, or y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now if you wanted to do that for a line, you needed 2 points. It turns out if you want to do it for a quadratic equation, you need to have 3 points. And it is possible to find the answer by hand. You couldn't do point slope, obviously, because that's for lines. But there is a process you can follow that our book goes into in section 5.1. I'm not going to worry about it, though, because quite honestly, it's kind of a lot of work, and it's kind of tedious to do when there are easier ways to get the answer. It's not a process I would do by hand personally, and if I wouldn't, I can't expect you guys to want to do it that way either. So I'm going to show you how to do it on the calculator, and it turns out to be a pretty straightforward process because it's related to what we did back in chapter 2 with linreg. So if you have a calculator handy, this would be a good time to get it out, and recall that in order to do linreg, we would go, and the steps are all up there too, by the way, we're going to go to the stat menu, go to edit, and we're going to type in our 3 points right here. So I'll be right back with that. But if you already have stuff in there, remember you have to clear it out first. Just go ahead and enter your 3 points. And let's see. Sorry, it's taking a few seconds here. You get your data entered, and it should look something like this. You have your 3 points in there. After your points are in, you want to quit out and go back to stat. So I'm going to go back to stat. This time I'm going to go over to calc. And before we use choice 4, which is linreg for linear regression, if we want to have a quadratic model though, we're going to use quadratic, so quadratic regression. So we're just choosing a different option in the menu. We're going to hit enter again, and it's going to give you an equation right here. It says it's ax squared plus bx plus c, our standard form. It tells you what a, b, and c all are. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down with a, b, and c plugged in. So I ended up with a was negative 5, so it's going to be y equals negative 5x squared. B was positive 8, so it's going to be plus 8x. And C was negative 15, so I'm going to put minus 15 right there. And I'll show you that on the screen one more time. So we had our A, B, C. I wrote it down as such. So this is the process you're going to use if I ask you to give an equation that goes through 3 points, or if I was doing a word problem where it said to find a quadratic model for it. It's just the easiest way to go about it. And in a word problem, they'll often ask you to plug in a certain value to solve. I didn't have a word problem on this slide, so I just made up a question right here. Let's say we wanted to know what y was when x is negative 1. So I want to plug in a negative 1 for x into my new equation and see what I get. So I have y equals negative 5, and then in parentheses negative 1 squared, plus 8 times negative 1 minus 15. Plug in that negative 1 everywhere you see an x. And then you can either type this in the calculator as this, or you can do it by hand. Either way is fine. So you can get negative 5 minus 8 is going to be negative 13 minus 15. I believe you get a negative 28 for y. So that means that the point negative 1 comma negative 28 is also going to be on our graph.